All right, we're live.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Pretty good.
What have you been up to, Tyler?
Wait, you're in Europe, so you didn't have the weather that we had yesterday.
The weather sucks here. It's just been raining, and it's not been super cold though, which is nice.
We had storms here, but there were tornadoes in Alabama.
Damn.
Yeah, it was like one of those events that like the conditions were, the way they put it is the conditions that we had yesterday you usually see pop up in the country like 3 times a year. Which I don't know. I haven't checked the news. I don't know if there was a ton of damage, but we slept downstairs in the basement, and there's like zero light when I shut the door in my basement. This is nice. So nice.
Nice. Got some good sleep?
Pretty good. So you guys have bad weather too?
Not bad.
Or it's just sucky?
Yeah, it's just kind of generally depressing.
What's the temperature like?
40, 45 maybe. Yeah, it's not terrible. We went outside for a run today, which was pretty awesome.
Are you getting used to like thinking about the temperature in Celsius?
No, I'm like, it's just like so small. Like I don't know. I like bigger numbers, so I really don't.
You're used to that American overcompensation.
Yeah, exactly. But no, what do you guys think is going on in the market?
Well, I mean, this daily candle is in danger of like breaking the trend.
I mean, what does that mean for Bitcoin specifically?
You want to show us what you're looking at, Tyler?
Yeah. So I've got 3 different curved lines here. One going from the beginning, the very bottom dip. That just kind of grabs, that kind of gives like an over extrapolated like slope. And then this was like last cycle. And then this black line is kind of like just following from this base all the way up. And then this pink line is following at the base of candles versus wicks. So the black line's wicks, the pink line's base, like candle bases. Sorry. And we've held super nice. But yeah, this 3-day doesn't look great. The 1-day is still holding up pretty good.
Look at that volume.
I'll extend it out. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy sell volume.
I mean, that's crazy volume. It's not necessarily all sell volume.
These curved lines are like, that's what institutions accumulate on. It's that TWAP kind of stuff. And look at it with that volume, but it's still holding the average price, like the weighted average price.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I feel like today's do or die.
Like, I mean, break a certain level or hold a certain level or drop.
Like if we can hold this, if we can like I feel like if we can hold above this trend line, then that gives us those 2 weeks, like what we were talking about yesterday, for both alts and Bitcoin to make a final blow off the top over these next 2 weeks. But because like alts run the most when Bitcoin breaks on its final leg. And if this breaks up on its final leg, alts can run, and then we can consolidate down under the trend, and so can alts. Like everything can cool off for like a couple months. The only problem with that is that, like, you know, Jason from Telegram says that we're going to have a really exciting Q2 with Bitcoin. And I don't know. I just don't see it. I mean, if we break below and we consolidate, then maybe then we break back higher. But like, I don't know. That just seems unlikely.
Where are we on this chart? Where are we with the corporations pouring money in? So like, where did Tesla announce? And then like what's the next wave of corporate balance sheet Bitcoin?
Tesla announced in the beginning of February. So Tesla announced like here-ish.
Yeah, that would make a lot of sense right there.
Because Tesla bought Tesla. This is Tesla.
Yeah.
This little flat part right here with that like buying up that wick. That's Tesla buying right there, and then possibly even here. Then they announced in here.
Yeah. So when you kind of when you look at this chart and you bake in additional catalysts, more announcements are likely. I mean, you've got that last quarterly report where that announcement came out for Tesla. And, you know, in the previous quarter or so, you had Michael Saylor and MicroStrategies. And everybody kind of follows suit. And you've had a bunch of smaller announcements, right? Like 300 or, 1,000 Bitcoin being purchased for a smaller company's balance sheet. But we know that there's a lot more coming. So where does the chart go with that? Or are there new sellers that come in at these levels and slightly higher?
So I think that the one thing we really think about is like the stimulus, and so like I think that a lot of people with money pre-bought the stimulus, and I think that the stimulus is going to be something that like it pumps because retail is going to be forced to buy high, and so I think that like if you were going to put your stimulus money in anything, probably the safest bet would be like Doge, because Elon's going to keep retail safe. But I think that the stimulus money's front ran, and then I think we consolidate because like Morgan Stanley just announced a couple days ago that they're going to be offering Bitcoin and to their wealthy clients, which means that they've already bought the Bitcoin. You know, it's like people announce after they've already bought, and so I think a lot of people bought Bitcoin for quarter one.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I think I tweeted in the chat, or I put in the chat, 40% drawdown from the highs are 36K. And I think that is going to be a sweet spot for Bitcoin. Everybody's talking about going to the moon, and today is do or die, I would say. If we hold the trend here, then 88 I think is definitely kind of what I'm targeting, and that would be sell off the top, blow off the top, and then we'd see a correction, and alts would hopefully follow. But if Bitcoin is topping right here, just and heading for a small correction or maybe a larger correction, everybody's coming out and saying these news stories like Morgan Stanley, and it just kind of seems like, okay, we pushed up to 60K so that they could announce that they are going to offer this for their clients now. So they've been the one that's buying, and whenever banking announces it's buying, I think it's kind of they announce it to sell it to everybody else. So yeah, I think I could see us consolidating here, and that's like perfect for alts. If Bitcoin really starts to settle down, then I don't think this is like what Suzu's always talking about, is that we're in a super cycle. And if that's the case, then we just keep going up from here. And like that 88 really starts turning into, maybe something like 120 or and that's what he's talking about. So I could very well be wrong, but it would make sense to me that Bitcoin really cools off here and some of those profits start flowing into alts. Link had a really nice reaction last night. There's just a lot, and it kind of just jives with what I think is going on in the world. It seems like there's a lot churning, kind of behind the scenes. The huge volume day, but even just like personally, it just seems like there's a lot of churn in my life right now, and I don't know if you guys can relate to that, but it just seems like this is a busy time for the world. And it's like in the market, there's a lot of tension brewing. It's consolidation. There's something's about to happen. I just don't, and I'm just trying to position ourselves, in the best way possible.
I felt that same sentiment lately, man. Like when I've been talking to my friend about that, and it's just like I look at things like that, and it's like what's fractaling out throughout all that, and like that's definitely something that's going on in my life. Like I definitely have got a million stresses going on, like in all parts of my life right now. Like, and it's like I'm really stressed out right now, but it's like I'm not in a bad spot. There's just so much, just like you said, it's just so much churn.
Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot going on in the world. This is, you can look at 2020, right, as just a lot happened in that year and a lot of significant stuff, and kind of probably in some ways cap some things and in some ways set some things in motion. But yeah, I feel like the world is kind of going through some growing pains, and or at least starting to. And I do feel like the world is turning in a certain way as a whole, and everybody's having to adapt. It's kind of like, it's going to be stressful, but at some point, however it all kind of shakes out, that's the new way it's going to be. But right now we don't know what that is, and I feel like everybody's going through their own struggle as well as the world struggle right now.
Yeah, I guess coming back to markets, there's a lot going on. Ethereum is in a really kind of super unique place, in my opinion. It's just kind of sitting on support, like balancing on support right now. And I guess I can share my screen if that would be better.
My slope on Ethereum says that Ethereum goes on a bull market all summer. Like Ethereum has got legs. Ethereum's slope is not parabolic like Helium, like Bitcoin, like everything else. Ethereum, it goes all the way until almost November of this year before the slope starts to go parabolic.
Yeah, so
which would be amazing.
Like we're sitting on support right now. This is monthly support, and so it's not the most bullish thing ever, in my opinion. I think.
I'm sorry. All I see is click exit full screen.
Is that better?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to try this again.
Nope.
Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Well, yeah, this is just where Ethereum is to me, and it definitely needs to hold support. The reason I think it will is just long term. This is a really, really big consolidation area. And I think this is like just a pretty big area of support. Again, it can totally give, but I do think we're primed. That being said,
we're always so early, you know, like we're always way early in everything that but that's kind of our approach. So
yeah,
there's a long way to go here, you know, in terms of what we're looking for.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think things are really positioning themselves really well to move.
Can I show you my Ethereum real quick before you start flipping through everything?
Yeah.
Let me just show you. I don't have a lot of fancy indicators on there. I just kind of drew the little curved line. And as you can see, unlike Bitcoin, we've got like this thing could just steady. It could just keep steady growing. I mean, I think at some point the slope starts getting sharper, but this just looks so much healthier than everything else.
Yeah, I think it's going to be driven primarily like by organic growth, because it is, you know, the more like Bitcoin in the early days. But yeah,
It's a giant launch pad.
The skate ramp to me.
I don't know. I'm super bullish on alts right now. I think as long as Ethereum holds this support, then it's great. But if we start giving up 0.03, then then it's pain.
I stayed up so late looking at small caps last night.
You really found some gems, man.
I know.
Like Unslashed finance. Holy snikey, dude. That market buy, you know. The backing of this project.
Well, let's talk about it. You want to throw some stuff up?
Sure.
Educate me. Holy shnikes, is that what you said?
Holy shnikes. So I guess I'll take you through like what I do when Tyler throws out a name. I'll go to CoinGecko, type in this market cap. This thing is tiny. So like this is generally not the kind of stuff that we look at. I've looked at, but Tyler is maybe a degen would be the right term. And this is incredible. So Unslashed Finance, this is what it's all about. It has a tiny market cap of $5 million. I'll check out the website.
Low circulating supply. You know, that's only 1 million of 86 million.
Yeah. So it's like, again, super early stage. So check out the website. What is this thing all about? The insurance products that crypto needs. Just really looking through how it is, what it is. So it's obviously like an insurance platform. And then the thing that I'm most interested in is the team and the partners as well. But so like
Paraswap's huge.
Pretty solid. Don't know these two. Okay, not the best.
That's my friend Fran Strasner, Techame Capital. He's out of New Zealand. They just started Techament, which has the ability to print a New Zealand-based stablecoin.
A New Zealand-based, right on. That's pretty awesome. So okay, this is what they link to. One thing I also do is just like I'll click through, and and make sure
That
that
used
the
to be
links
Melonport.
work. But yeah, one of the things I do is like I click through and make sure the website is functional, because some of the things I look at is it's just like pictures and you know, how legit is this? And specifically the team. And finding a project like this with this team, and it takes some time, but looking at this, connecting to the LinkedIn screen, you know, like actually doing research and looking, maybe not research, but like looking into these people, like, okay, this person is legit. He has experience. He has, you know, 250 followers, not a ton, but like that's a decent amount. Anyway, like looking at all this, and then also just going back to CoinGecko, going on their Twitter account. I follow like 12 or 14 people, and this guy is like a Ethereum developer. And so it's followed by somebody, it doesn't have a lot of followers. So it's super, super early. Typically I like to see like 20,000 followers at least, to really like have some confidence in the project. But like all things considered, like this is pretty legit.
Well,
because,
and they're following a tenth or less than 1/10 of their followers.
right. So like, you know, like just like looking through it, I'll go to typically their GitHub and see how many commits they have. Let's see, this is something else. Okay, maybe they don't have a link to their GitHub. So yeah, this one doesn't, but that's not like, just given everything that I've seen with this.
The thing is the quote above.
Oh yeah. Which one?
From the Paraswap guy.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's
what about it?
I mean, that like to use the CEO of another DeFi project and have that quote approved, like the implications of that, like are resounding.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Yeah. It's like another very promising factor in this. Yeah. I feel like this is an amazing opportunity for anybody.
Look at the chart.
Yeah, the chart is truly amazing. I think I'll have to go to. It's not amazing actually. It's like absolutely.
Well, I mean,
terrifying.
it's not when you look at it on a high time frame, but when you zoom out, you can see that massive distribution that's occurring.
But this volume is actually really important. You are seeing some sort of rounding bottom. I don't know if I would necessarily be super comfortable just buying into this at this moment, but I think it is an amazing opportunity because it has all the factors that we're looking for, in my opinion.
Hit a trend line over those tops. No. What would it be from that one, or would it be from? Yeah.
So we'll just go from here and just check it out. So there's one. And so like, it's promising, you know, it's like, yeah, if we wanted to get in, I'd be fine getting in right here. There would likely be some consolidation is what I'm saying. What I would think. But yeah, this is an amazing opportunity. I think we should absolutely take advantage of it. You know, this is one of those things. There's not a lot of room between this and zero. And if this is something that's going to zero, then so be it. We are taking a huge risk, but
well, Ro,
yeah.
I mean, there is a long way between here and zero because it's where you get in, and you know that's just you can. But can you explain what this actually does? Because for somebody like me who just, I'm looking at it for the first time, I look at the website, it really doesn't tell me much. So you have a lot of faith in the team, and then we're looking at the technicals. We're looking at it as a trade or an investment, like, yes, it could go down to zero. For us, it'd be 100% down to zero if we got in now or at some level and it went down to zero. But the fact that it is so small of a market cap, so, the characteristics that lead it to be, investable, for somebody like, or for a group like us, means that, the upside is potentially tremendous. So can you explain to me like what this actually does? Because I wasn't able to capture that just from looking at the website. What kind of insurance products does this do for crypto?
I think it's on lending.
So it's kind of like if
Unslashed,
you
we're
get,
committed to providing the best. Go ahead.
if you get like kind of like insurance for like bad situations on the whole DeFi platform, like if you're participating in certain leverage swaps or whatever.
Well, yeah, counterparty risk. So like maybe there's a hack, and there's an exploit to where one of the code that was audited had an exploit, and somebody came in and found a supply bug and just started minting tokens. Then they went to the exchange, and then all of a sudden they dropped a ton of liquidity onto the exchange. Well, if that exchange Paraswap was partnered with Unslashed, and you had your premium, you had taken out a small insurance project on your liquidity that you were providing on Paraswap, and that liquidity bug affected Paraswap, then you have a claim you'd be able to make on Unslashed, and they're pretty much guaranteeing that they're going to have the backing to like pay out that claim.
All right, so this is kind of just like an additional reserve pool,
It's
insurance, like which this insurance is, yeah. But I guess they're just the first ones to market, first ones with the product. Is that why?
No, they're definitely not.
Well, no, they're still in
first.
early access mode.
Yeah, there are other insurance options out there, without a doubt. It's just this. Okay, so for me, this project is a little scammy. All of these projects are super scammy. Actually, like it's very difficult for me as somebody who's not a coder to like truly evaluate the product. This project is a little scammy, primarily because I can't access the GitHub. I don't know how to, or I haven't seen anything about the code to just see like, okay, if it does have a lot of contributors, if there are a lot of commits in the last few days, are things moving? But this guy gives this project validity to me, because
seven people that I follow Unslashed Finance. I got seven people that I follow.
Yeah, I'm like he's legit, and generally he's not like following shit. And like obviously he's like super. This thing only has 5,000 followers, and he's one of the first 500. So yeah, there's a lot of value here, I think, to be had. Could we be wrong entirely? Yeah, but
they also hit 75,000 ETH deposited in 75,000 ETH deposited into Unslashed on March the 15th. So that was 2 or 3 days ago. So what is what is that? That's 75. That's almost $150 million.
I just want to point out, and this is going to get a little bit off this specific topic, but I don't think it is entirely. Checking out this little chart right here, total value locked in DeFi assets from March 15th to March 18th has skyrocketed. Not skyrocketed, but like it's over doubled.
What does locked imply?
that are just, it's not really locked. It is just currently on.
It's not in their wallet. Like somebody has taken Ethereum and they've taken it out of their wallet and they've put it in the custody of Unslashed Finance in order to yield the token of Unslashed Finance.
Yeah, and so in this regard right here, it means any of your Ethereum, any of your stable coins, any of your Bitcoin that is on a DeFi platform, and is on a DeFi platform, is counted in total value locked. It is not necessarily locked. They can withdraw it at any time. But yeah, it's just all the assets that are tied up on DeFi.
Trust their smart contracts.
Yeah, if you put like ETH on Aave or ETH on Compound, all of that is counted in this calculation. And anyway, over the last few days, we were seeing a huge spike in DeFi.
I'm looking at that spike, and if you pull your mouse off of it real quick, so we can see the whole. Yeah, like it's a spike, but it's really where it was 2 weeks ago. To me, it's like what happened 2 weeks ago.
I think what you'll find is that, like, for our DeFi applications, that was a dip.
Well, USF's also not included in this DeFi pulse, and USF hit 50% higher than what they were expecting their initial TVL to be on March 15th, when everything else was like way down.
Yeah, kind of our DeFi plays.
Wi-Fi taking a hit, pretty big hit.
Well, Wi-Fi's taken a hit, but it's also been consolidating over the last few days, and I think we're seeing like a lot of the dip. But one thing to point out here is, like, okay, let's just assume assets are now starting to go back to DeFi. Okay, there's massive run up. Everybody was earning crazy amounts of yield on their assets, and now we go back down. And let's just go to the all-time. Yeah. Okay, now we have a little dip. This is all-time total value locked. We're still in the super early stages. The yield that you can get in DeFi, hundreds of billions of dollars, are going to go to this until all of that is dried out. And this number right here is absolutely shocking to me. For Badger DAO to have 40% of all assets, all DeFi assets in this, of all of these, but like it does include quite a bit. It includes Pickle, Value, which we need to talk about, Yax. It includes Urine Finance and all of these things. Badger DAO has $1.4 billion of assets locked, growing, and just looking at this chart. Well, I'll go to. I don't know. This makes me really excited.
Hold on, let me just jump in here real quick.
DIGG, dude, DIGG, like that. Yeah, when I saw that last night, I was like, holy shit, I need to go all in DIGG. Holy shit, I need to go all in DIGG.
All right, so let me jump in here real quick. You guys have been talking about a few different micro caps, right? Like micro caps and super micro caps.
That USF's a micro cap, but most of the other ones we're talking about are legit DeFi projects. They're not really, I wouldn't consider them micro caps.
Okay, so some micro caps and then a bunch of DeFi projects, probably that I've never heard of before. Some of them I have, and so I think we're about to spend some time getting into some of those, right? And just jumping through, and the consideration here, I mean, I guess we'll need to kind of go through all of them, but I mean, some of them may be investable type things that we just kind of ride up on a cyclical basis. And then some of these might be, you get in before other people get in, the herd comes in, we double, triple, we get out. Before we get into all these real quick, what is our consideration?
Yeah, our strategy with the ETH wallet is to sell half on a double and let the rest ride, because we're investing in lower cap alts. Some of these will have the potential to be worth so many multiples of what we get them at, but we just get our initial principal out at double is kind of my understanding of it.
That's what I was going to say.
Cool. Yeah, and that's what I had in mind too. Just want to kind of make sure. So we do take a little bit more of like a trading approach here. You know, we are really just trying to in out, you know, that's why we look at things that are a little bit smaller that a lot of people haven't heard about. So the fact that people like me haven't heard about it is probably, you know, a good thing.
Well, and I think the trading approach is just that, like, one of the things that we rule out are things that are awesome projects that nobody's ever heard of that have ran before you've ever heard about them. So, like, I've got like 4 or 5 that are at $250 to $500 million market caps that are not listed on any major exchanges.
Yeah. So DIGG, you know, the Badger DAO to hold 40% of not all DeFi assets. There's so many more now than what can be captured in these top 20. But
so,
you know, this is a huge.
DIGG is an algorithmic Bitcoin stablecoin. So it's kind of like Ampleforth, and it has a dynamic supply in that, like, when the price is below the pegged Bitcoin price, the supply deflates. That means that, like, they're pulling it out of your wallet, like the supply shrinks. But then when the supply gets above the price of Bitcoin, the supply grows and grows and grows, and it keeps growing, and you keep getting more and more and more and more DIGG into your wallet until the price is sold back down to a Bitcoin. But it's like, even if it sells down below a Bitcoin, you still have that same amount of DIGG. It gets reduced algorithmically over time until the price normalizes back at $1. And Alameda is like the biggest, they're like the biggest DIGG well.
Yeah. It seems pretty valuable.
If you look at the chart, what that says is, like, the supply is decreasing, meaning that people are getting less and less and less in their wallets, and they're selling and they're selling and they're selling. But if you look at the wicks, somebody's buying it up like crazy. They're buying up all sell pressure.
Yeah, these are rejection wicks, you know, typically speaking. Which, yeah, it's pretty. It seems pretty bullish.
We get 100,000 DIGG way before we get 100,000 Bitcoin.
Yeah, totally. So DIGG was of the list that you dropped. That was particularly appealing to me. dHT was pretty interesting. Which is like a decentralized hedge fund on Ethereum. Pretty micro
Yeah,
cap.
dHT is
Sentivate.
cool. Rich, are you? Can you go to their website? So essentially, this gives got these really smart young people that don't have a lot of money that are really good at, like, computer science, machine learning, algorithmic trading and stuff, the ability to, like, let people put their capital behind, and they manage other people's money doing their strategies. And then part of holding the token is there's like a vault that also gets allocated to these different traders' strategies. You hold the government's token, you vote on how you want to allocate the vault, and then a certain percent of the proceeds is then converted into dHT. So they buy dHT at a certain time frame, and then they distribute dividends to all the governance, to all the dHT holders. Then you can stake your dHT for time frames up to like 3 years. And it's got crazy APYs right now, but I mean, I don't think we'd be staking.
So there's a couple things I want to mention before I do that. Rishi, did you have any questions with that explanation?
No.
Okay. So I'm going to preface this with we are super early in the cycle. However, I do want to make aware of where we're heading, a potential avenue that we're heading. So Synthetix are, as the name suggests, a synthetic asset or a synthetic asset that tracks the performance of the underlying asset. And, it's basically a derivative. It is a derivative of every other asset. And it basically allows you to add liquidity to any asset. Right now, there's a lot of development that is going on to Synthetix because it's cheaper, it's more efficient, it's generally a little more centralized, but it's cheaper than actually acquiring the real assets, although it's supposed to track. And Synthetix, the platform, SNX, is that right? Synthetix, yeah, SNX, is powering a lot of that industry. So we're at a market cap of 2.8 billion for Synthetix. However, Synthetix are pretty much entirely based on their peg, right? Their peg to the US dollar. The assumption is that as long as those pegs work, or their pegs to Bitcoin, or their pegs to Ethereum, as long as those continue to function, then there's no problem. What's going on over here? Let's see. Okay. And the thing about Synthetix is that this entire industry is powered by this hedge, or this peg, Synthetix USD, holding at $1. But the market cap of that is only 235 million, which is plenty, which is a lot, right? But with the sizes we're getting at, if somebody wanted to destabilize this this peg specifically, I think they would have the resources to do that, because $250 million, when you're talking about several, like tens of billions of dollars, which you can do now in crypto, isn't a lot. I'm not saying that this will happen, but I'm just saying like that is a pretty big risk factor for the entire synthetic market, and everything being built on top of it. And I think just with the nature of,
I think that maybe like that I agree, but I think maybe that argument is the new like cost of a 51% attack. It's like it costs $17,000 to 51% attack Ethereum Classic for a minute. It's like,
yeah, exactly. And I just think it will be easier to do that for this peg, and you will have a relatively larger payoff because of the number of the sheer quantity of assets being built around Synthetix. Yeah, I just feel like that is one of those things that can cause.
Isn't it funny though that its name is Sus?
Yeah. But yeah, okay. So we had a list of stuff we were thinking about maybe getting into. I don't think it makes sense for us to get into everything, but Tyler, like for me, I think DIGG really stands out as something I want to get into. Unslashed finance, something that I really want to get into. Sentivate was another one. It's like a Web 3.0 that bifurcated system that would potentially be a good on-ramp for a truly decentralized internet of the future. DHT was pretty interesting. Like in like Synthetix. Speaking of Synthetix, you know, like we are still super early. I think we should still continue to try and profit from it, but just be wary that that could bring the entire system down one day. Because this is exactly like banking. You know, like there's going to be so much leverage that goes into crypto through DeFi. And everybody, like, if we truly are on a super cycle and everybody makes a fuck ton of money, then something like this would be the cascade. Would be
how many do you want to talk
about? Here, let me stop sharing.
Let me let my dog out real quick.
Okay, come on. I'm gonna go to our Discord. Okay, so there was value DAOs, UNN, DHT, Sentivate 0, and then he wanted to bring up APY, CVP, DIGG, Inverse, Insure, Cover, USF. So Insure, Cover, and USF, Rishi, are all insurance protocols on blockchain. But what do you think about all this stuff?
Yeah, so the insurance stuff is interesting. You haven't really seen that before. You just kind of wonder what that's, I mean.
So right now, the application of the insurance protocols are pretty poor because it's basically you buy this huge premium up front, and it doesn't make sense to do that if you're trying to borrow assets to lend them or to yield them, to farm them. So the applications of most of these insurance protocols are pretty poor, but I think this next generation will be able to, like, simultaneously you are paying your premium.
Uh-oh.
Hi. And it's either
you froze on us. We'll get it back.
So ideally, Rishi, on smart contracts, like right now, the people that are building smart contracts are either scammers or they're the ones that are like the best in the world. They're like the artists, right? And it's like, so right now, insurance is not really useful because these platforms are building in black boxes. They're testing before they're releasing. They're having audits done. So technically, you shouldn't need insurance right now. And insurance is not going to be offered on the scammier stuff, right? But as this system grows and these platforms turn into ecosystems of open source development, then there's going to be a chance, just like when the Bitcoin soft fork stuff was going, or hard fork stuff was going on, you know, some of the guys that were pushing code were pushing malicious code that like almost got pushed. Like there was a backdoor in one of the code that almost got pushed. And I think one time there was a backdoor that got pushed and somebody found it and they fixed it real quick. And so like, that's when this insurance stuff's really going to be valuable, is once these ecosystems open source and there's development, and to where now you're not putting your money into a smart contract built by the developers of the platform. You're putting your money into a smart contract built on top of the smart contract like system that is the platform. And so like there's going to be a counterparty risk there, even though the blockchain should take that away.
Yeah, and if you're going to be inviting people to build, right, on something and have faith, then you want to take away that downside risk. And right now, there's a lot of risk out there. It's a pretty risky world, the whole world of DeFi. And yeah, like you said, those platforms, when you do start building on it, there's going to be a market for certainty. So that's interesting. What else is, I mean, other than insurance, what else do we have on here that we want to get into of the things that you named?
Governance tokens, insurance tokens. I think those are the main ones that I'm looking at right here.
Yeah. I didn't totally get inverse finance.
Yeah, I'm down with dropping that for the sake of time. That's my least favorite of all of them.
Okay. Cool. I'll just scratch that off. Cover pool. What do you think of that? Or no, power pool.
Oh, power pool.
Yeah.
So, power pool is like kind of like the one ring to rule them all. Like it's like a governance token of governance tokens. The purpose of power pool is you stake your governance tokens in power pool to yield power pool. And then power pool gives you governance over the voting rights of these other governance tokens. So it's a way to consolidate the power in these other governance platforms through like participating in the whale.
Okay.
The chart doesn't look bad either.
The chart looks like shit.
You think so?
Well, which is what makes it look good, right?
Well, I guess when I say a chart doesn't look bad, I guess I'm talking about like I wouldn't mind entering,
Yeah. I think we might get a pullback. Not a huge one, but yeah, I see what you're saying. It takes the governance utility value assumption, and it puts it to the extreme. Essentially, is what you're saying.
And
so
I think
if governance
like
tokens,
let me show Rishi their style. Where is it at? Power pool.
I wasn't totally. All right, go for it.
Well, what would you call this style, Tyler? Kind of
That
like
mainframe, that like
that video game mainframe
this
type.
is that like helium, like
Yeah, absolutely.
Just because in my opinion, like this is just like confident. Like we're here, we're not trying to mess with fucking graphics.
Yeah.
This is the shit.
Yeah, I love that style.
Followed by 20 followers.
So they just pay a dividend.
Following one. Who they following? Elon Musk? Not Satoshi. See, look, this is your vibe. This is your vibe, Rishi. This is your vibe. Not Satoshi, not Tashar.
Oh man, that's funny.
It is interesting though. Can you go to their website?
Go where? Yeah.
Can you go to their website? So I will just say, it is interesting that their Twitter website doesn't link to their actual website. I just tried clicking on their, and it's like it's an old version almost.
This is another. It looks like it's a product for them.
Okay, yeah, maybe it is a product.
Oh, it just popped up. Shit.
Interesting.
That's slick looking. I don't
It's
like
not
that.
bad.
I don't like the little zebra print, but
Anyway, so okay, there's PowerPool. Of the things that we have listed, the things that I really like are
this is the first time I've seen this. I like that, dude. This makes it even more bullish on PowerPool.
yeah, this is pretty interesting. I like USF, Unslashed Finance. I like DIGG. I think that makes a lot of sense. I like Sentivate. It's an EXO backed project. It was the first one he started. He said anything about, and the chart looks phenomenal. And then I think you're right with value. I think that looks like it's solid. It has $30 million TBL. Market cap is around the same. I think it's paying good yields right now. It's backed by Sam. Pretty good. It's fully diluted. So yeah, I think like those are the ones that I'm in on. I would consider.
Look at that value
DHT.
vault, baby.
Yeah. So yeah, I think those are the names. So just value, DIGG, Sentivate, and USF.
I like this power index. I want to know.
Okay.
I want to know. I don't want to jump around too much, but I do want to know how many different products they have and how you participate in the type of governance, or what the self-balancing protocol is actually like, how it's doing that. But yeah, seems super interesting. Like a better way of doing it than hiring a bunch of multi-millionaire fund managers.
Like
who
the
just
whole
have a
purpose of
reputation.
this is these people want to like control the governance of all these other programs to benefit them. Like I just feel like joining governance aggregators is a smart move right now, right? Like
if you're bullish governance, then governance aggregators make a ton of sense.
yeah.
So yeah, I like all the things we've talked about. Like I think all of these things are going to pump, and they're and
Did
the
I
things
put
we're
this
looking
one
at
in there?
no.
I don't think
Okay,
so.
yeah, because like it's super scammy looking. I think that's why I didn't do it.
Yeah, there was a couple that were just like once I was looking through them, I was like, I do not feel comfortable. Like when I see a LinkedIn profile that doesn't exist anymore, I'm like, okay, this reminds me of Walton Chain.
Walton Chain's doing good though. I mean,
it is kind of it's back up on that market cap list.
yeah.
But still, it's like.
I mean, but like you see that chart, like that's a. I mean, yeah, like that's not an investment if we were trading. So that's why I think I didn't send it. But
yeah.
That's
So
a buy. Guaranteed 2x.
So yeah, I think Cover was also another one. Ensure I wasn't really into, but Cover was another solid project that I liked. So I'd be interested in talking about, making some positions in some of these things. I wasn't a fan of Zero in general. I think it was okay, but it wasn't like some of the others. And I didn't really dig into APY a ton. It was solid. It wasn't anything too crazy.
Did I send Boring Dow?
No, I've looked into it though, and it was pretty solid.
Boring Dow is going to be huge. I thought I sent that. I guess I didn't. Damn.
I mean,
All right.
okay.
So what do we want to talk about first? I mean, what would be
Which is the one?
so how many positions are we looking to take, I guess?
So for our Eth wallet, I think we're pretty much breaking even on all of our positions except for YFL, which was our most just like shitcoin position.
Yeah. Which we knew that. That was the risk. That was the riskiest one.
But like once if and when Wi-Fi starts moving, all of these projects are going to start moving because they're just clones. So yeah, I don't really expect us to get our money back on that, but if that's okay. You know, that's part of the risk that we take when we deploy these things, and you know, it's pretty small. But for the other four, I think we're pretty much either we've doubled on some of them, and we're pretty much at value for the rest. So yeah, I think I'm pretty comfortable deploying maybe 5 additional positions. And it seems like for me, the ones that stick out are Value, Sentivate, DIGG, USF, and we can throw PowerPool into that.
What is the relative allocation? I mean, how much of our portfolio is in a trading position, and how much of it is ready to be deployed, and then how much of that ready to be deployed position are we considering putting towards these projects?
I think we would be fully deployed essentially after putting these projects in, and we would have maybe 15 to 20%.
Not if we only did 5.
Well, we probably have 15 to 20% remaining as just like reserve.
I mean, if we did 5, we'd have a little under 50%.
Remaining?
5 times our normal entry would yield a little over half.
Okay,
so
yeah, I see what you're saying.
A little under half.
Yeah.
If we did 5, if we did an oversized position in 5, then we'd be left with 10 or 15%. That's why I'm saying, like, I would be, you know, I don't know what I would either be in favor of picking 3 to 5 and doing an oversized position, or go ahead. I mean, we have some very solid projects here. We're going to double on I would imagine at least half, if not most. So I mean, I feel like if we picked 5, we'd probably double on all of them if we picked, 5 solid ones. I don't know. I mean, I think I'm more in favor of going, I would either want to go 5 oversized, or I'd either want to over allocate and go ahead and do like 7 or 8 normal size positions. Take the buckshot approach.
There's still the possibility that, everything dumps and gets crushed. And
yeah,
so, we just have to keep that in mind. Like, if we over allocate anything at this point, I mean, we do have a lot deployed for a rise. And
so
if we over allocate that and it goes the other way, then that's the worst case scenario, right? Because you end up with something very, very small you're sitting on to recover from.
Yeah, part of the lure in these projects, from a technical perspective, with the exception of CVP, PowerPool, a lot of these guys have a little bit of momentum on them, and that is a technically very sound. You know, it gives me a little bit more confidence to enter in these positions from a making money perspective. And I'll just share some of these right now. Can you guys see my screen?
Yeah.
So like, this is the Sentivate chart. Okay, this is a pretty bullish chart to me. Can this go down? Yeah, certainly. Can we go down here? Yeah. Can we make new lows? That's really concerning to me. I don't think we're going to make new lows from being over here. Can we take this out and bounce? Yeah, absolutely. So that's where, this is a pretty bullish setup in my mind. Looking at value. Okay, we're coming up against some diagonal support for sure. We're getting a buy signal right here. It's generally been pretty accurate. We are under support right here, which isn't the greatest sign, but this was the initial support that's set. This is a little deviation area, and we're retesting that right now. Not the most bullish chart ever, but it seems pretty like a pretty solid entry in my opinion. Like if you take into account the fundamentals behind it. Going over to DIGG. DIGG Ethereum looks really bullish. I think I liked the DIGG dollar chart a little bit better. Not that we measure it, but it just kind of, again, we're getting these rejection wicks that we already talked about. It's filling in this kind of this inefficiency in the market, straight down, straight up. We've kind of filled in all of that, and could be a turn. That being said, nothing is set in stone. USF looks pretty bearish, if I remember correctly. Yeah, USF looks very bearish, but I think this is an opportunity where I don't think I've ever seen a project potentially this undervalued. I guess the only concern, again, with Unslashed Finance is that this entire website is fake, right? All of this stuff is fake. And that is a very real concern just because of how small it is. And, just because of everything. I'm going to just open their Telegram. And it has 3,000 members. That is actually a pretty awesome sign. 3,000 members. Yeah, really, it seems to be pretty active.
One thing to consider on the chart as well is it's a new project. And so it's a farming project. And so they're farming the token by locking their value in Ethereum. And so you only have sell pressure. Like you know what I'm saying? Like the supply is so low at the very beginning that like we're basically in price discovery mode right now, and we're about to we're trying to find a floor.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, this project came out on the 4th.
Yeah.
So
this project came out this month.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the only way it's like this.
Okay, and then also, can you explain what's going on at the bottom of that chart? Is that volume?
That's volume.
What the fuck is going on with that?
Somebody's buying the hell out of it.
That's accumulation. You buy, dump it. Buy, dump it. Buy, dump it. And you just know, like
somebody's accumulating the hell out of it. Look at that volume. Like zoom in on the last couple days.
Well, so why does it? So when they dump it, they don't start buying it right away. They just let it cool and then start buying it up.
They want it. They're trying to put panic in the market, and then they're buying up. They know that right now the price of this is so undervalued. They don't care. They're just trying to build as big of a bag as they can.
So who is that? Who's buying it?
I don't know. I mean, it could be messy.
It's by the
Like
team.
if I go to Telegram, my Telegram, and I just type in the search bar Unslashed, it's in the trading chat. Well, it's January 8th. That's why I'm still bullish on Insure, but this Unslashed project has me intrigued.
coin
Oh,
wasn't
you
even
got to
out
get
yet.
invited to test it. Okay, we could get invited and see what it's like. Yeah, dude. USF is not like, it's in some good, like, it's in all, like, it's got one mention in like all of these different chats. Nothing, we're early, super early.
It seems like I can't believe you posted this, Tyler, just because of how good it looks to me.
You just said
Y'all about to buy
everything
my
was
bag.
fake about it.
I'm about to ape in.
You just said everything was fake about it. So how is this like something that's so desirable to throw our money at?
The thing that's good about it is that it looks good. You know, the website operates well. It's obviously under construction, but it has the team. You know, it has these guys.
The people have done in their past lives what they need to do now.
Although, I guess one thing
I haven't heard of any of these guys. Are they all in the Netherlands?
No, it's just, you know, you can tell they're real people.
Hey, if that guy's in the Netherlands, you could go meet him.
And he has Unslashed Finance on his, you know, like.
You got a guy in the Netherlands, a guy in France, and a guy in the UK. Those are the top 3 people on that list. I want to see who the other 2 people are. Yeah, this is the shadiest shit ever. Let's do it.
I don't know. Like, they all have followers, though. You know, that's the thing. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's like, what's the criteria? You know, legit enough, you know, to attract less sophisticated people's money at some point, so we can, you know, get that appreciation. Get out.
This guy claims to be a software developer for MakerDAO, and this is. I don't think this is scammy at all. Like this.
I feel like it is. I feel like it kind of is, but kind of like what Rishi said, like it checks all of the boxes. And in my experience, like the people that check all of the like the projects that try to check all of the boxes, their shit's gonna pump. Like it. Yeah. It just does.
All you got to do is fool enough people after we get in.
Hey,
all you got to do is make enough believers.
You put an equation, X plus Y equals Z, all raised to the nth power, which that doesn't even make sense. But I mean, mathematically, I don't know what are they dealing with ones, because that still doesn't work out. Like,
you're absolutely right. I guess let's see.
I bet you those 5 guys have never.
I guess they're dealing with triangles, because A squared plus B squared equals C squared. You bet you those 5 guys
have never actually met each other in real life. They're all on different continents or in different countries scattered around, and they're the only 5 people.
That could very well be true.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's what we got last cycle, is a bunch of big names coming together. Like, that's all you need. You know, like musicians will sell 50 million records by just like collaborating across genres. You know, the same thing here. Like at the end of cycles, you just get, you know, hype built around people teaming up. And it's like, oh, they got an AI guy on their team. It's like, oh, I've got to invest in this project now. that's the type of shit that happens. Looks like these guys are front running the whole thing. But yeah, like anybody can put Google on their website.
Hey, can I share with you guys an NFT project real quick that I'm looking at?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Look at Dego, or I'll just share my screen. Because while I was doing my gym diving last night, I had to do look at some new NFT stuff too.
Dego. That's awesome.
That's Dego? Like that Lego man is Dego?
I don't know, but I stumbled on this, and then so one of the things that I look at is
I don't know. Like when we talk about scams, as you pull up the Zcash chart, when we talk about scams,
look at that volume, dude. $92 million of volume in the last 24 hours.
That's pretty wild. But like when we talk about scams, it's like clicking LinkedIn links that don't work, or expired links, or people with no credentials, or just really like a website that doesn't say anything, which in this case, Unslashed Finance doesn't really say anything. So that's actually okay, this very well could be a scam.
Well, you know how like
a well done scam.
Like last cycle, we had like scam white papers, right? Where people were putting out, all you had to do was put out a white paper and have an idea, and it had to be well written and scientific, and people threw money at that. Now we're doing that with fucking websites, and that's a good thing, because it's going to attract a lot more people that can handle a white paper, for good reasons and bad reasons, but it brings a lot of people to the table. But yeah, if you think about it, yeah, it wasn't the bar wasn't, oh, they have a website 3 years ago, at the top of the last cycle. It was, what does their white paper read like? What is it? What are they saying in their white paper? Now, where's the quality in that? And so here we are looking at the quality of websites. And of course, this is a brand new, tiny market cap type thing. But it's just, the only reason I'm pointing that out is because it's super interesting how things evolve, and the things get easier and easier to digest. Look at Robinhood now, like that wasn't even a thing, and now it's like if you have any inclination, you can like go buy some GameStop later today. So we have a limited amount of time left. Do we want to figure out some things to get into, or do we want to toy around a little bit more and kick that off until next time?
Let's go. Yeah, I mean, I guess let's look at some positions. I mean, I like DIGG, I like PowerPool, I like Unslashed Finance, I like Value. I like those four. But then I also I personally have dHEDGE, but I don't want to keep that as like a reason on why we don't get it. I like it, but I'm also staking it. And so if we're not staking it, I don't know if it's as valuable. Sentivate looks cool. I don't know a lot about Union, to be honest. Shadows to me just looks super cool. And APY also looks good. So I would be okay with if we could make if we're in agreement on those four, we could go ahead and get a position in those, and then if we want to discuss like the remainder, that would be cool.
I just want to look into CVP technically a little bit more.
So are we doing a regular allocation on these? Are we doing an overweight allocation equal across whatever
Well,
we
I guess
pick?
that depends on how many more we decide to go with from the others.
Okay.
Because we've got a bunch of good stuff here. And honestly, I'm probably going to invest in the stuff that we don't buy.
Yeah, which is awesome. Yeah, it's possible we've bottomed. It's just there's no real confirmation.
I mean, Bitcoin has bounced really good. It's back above. It's back in the trend.
Yeah, so this reminds me of buying YFL.
What does?
CVP.
CVP's got way legit backing though. YFL's a non-project. CVP's like backed by some of the most legit people in the space.
Yeah, mainly from a technical perspective. There was more downside and
yeah. Let me look at CVP. Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's as risky as buying. I feel like it's as risky as buying USF.
sorry, 1 second.
So how much dry powder do you want to keep after these, Tyler?
Well, I guess it also depends on if we want to try to get into any of these new ICO projects that are going to be coming out in the next few months. I don't know if we're set up for that though. We would have to probably put more in than what. I don't know. If you look at the CVP, it's breaking out on a technical level, just like, but the same with USF. But that doesn't necessarily mean the downtrend's done.
Yeah, CVP's been out for a little longer than USF. So I see what you're saying. It has broken this diagonal resistance, but it hasn't retested it. It just doesn't. It doesn't have a ton of. It doesn't have a ton of momentum yet, in my opinion. But it's not a bad chart. The opportunity is definitely there. There is weakness in the cloud. So yeah, it's not a bad chart. It's just I'm not certain on it yet. So I would be fine.
Yeah, if you draw, and the thing is I agree on the daily, it never retested that diagonal, but on the 4 hour, it retested it like multiple times.
I hear you, but this is a longer term chart, and that's long term resistance. We can't use short term time frames. Well, you can certainly. But it would make sense to retest it on a longer term time frame.
I mean, you're talking about a 6-month-old chart. So, one day on a 6-month-old chart's not I wouldn't say it's terribly reliable.
Yeah. But what about if we go with value, DIGG, and USF? I think those are clear cut. Like, we like all of those projects.
I mean, I do like those three, but I mean, I like some of these other ones too, like that APY.finance. That could be pretty big.
Yeah, it looks good. It's got a great team. It's got the backing. Yeah. Do you want to? Okay, I'm fine. Okay, I'm fine doing value, DAOs, UNN, DHT, Sentivate, APY, CVP, DIGG, Cover, and USF. Like if we want to just deploy capital, it looks like a pretty good time. And it's a hedge on our ETH position. So that makes a lot of sense to me. We're not gonna, or I imagine if we deploy everything, we will be fully deployed on our ETH wallet. So we still have our ETH trading position.
DIGG, USF, Shadows.
I'll drop it in the chat.
Okay. Union. APY. CVP. And no dHEDGE, no Cover, no Insure?
No, we can do dHEDGE and we can do Cover. I'm fine with like most of these projects. These things are awesome names. We got rid of
What
most
about
of the
Sentivate? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, Sentivate was in there as well. So value, DAOs, UNN, DHT, Sentivate, APY, CVP, DIGG, Cover, and USF. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 10 names.
Okay, so we'd have to cut one to fully allocate.
I would probably cut Cover.
Wait, I only have 9. I've got value, DIGG, Unslashed, Shadows, Union, APY, Power Pool, Sentivate, and Cover.
I put 10 in the chat.
Okay.
Oh, and it's UNN, not UNNS.
Wait, it's what? It's what?
UNN?
That's
Not
Union
UNNS.
Protocol Governance Token, right?
Uh-huh. In chat, I put UNNS on accident. So anyway,
I don't think I got that one.
Okay, we don't have to do UNN.
No, I'm saying like it's not showing up in my chat. Oh, you put it in the chat on this. I'm sorry.
Yeah, not on Discord. Yeah, and actually I'm fine scrapping UNN. It's got a good website and it's got great backing, but it's fine. I think everything is about to pump. That's generally where I'm at, and I hope to see it.
Are you cool with that, Rishi, or would you like to talk about any of those?
Yeah, just more about allocation. You know, I trust what you guys are doing with this realm. You know, and I appreciate you getting my feedback. Really, it's just allocation type stuff. Whatever we decide that we want to go into, you know, it's that sell half on a double type mentality. So, you know, the same rule kind of applies for everything. We had those other kind of considerations as well, and a little bit of flexibility built in. But we also have kind of that standard position with this portfolio or with the strategy. And so, is that intact, or are we kind of having to spread ourselves a little too thin here and maybe want to? I mean, what if we do a standard position across these? Does that
Yeah,
leave
with
us with
transaction
anything?
fees and everything, we may want to cut it even. We may want to cut it even one more.
Generally speaking, right, and this is a unique portfolio and strategy, right, compared to what we normally do. But generally speaking, I always like to keep a little bit of extra firepower because you never know what happens. And if you need to get yourself out of a really, really crappy situation, you got to have some chips. Not that that's likely to happen. I don't think that that's what's really going to happen here, but it also gives you the opportunity to kind of double down on something as a new opportunity arises. So if we are sitting here waiting for an alt season or waiting for a pump for a while, kind of like we have been, we want to be able to do this again, which is come back with some new stuff and to spread it out. So what happens if we're waiting for another 4 or 5 weeks? There's going to be some more of these projects like the ones that we looked at, and some maybe even cooler ones and better ones that are more put together, and maybe even scammier ones that are still worth looking at. So I always like to keep a little bit of firepower because you can't actually time the cycle. So that, and then yeah, like you said, Tyler, if we've got extra gas fees and stuff, we've got to look at what if we under allocate, go with a smaller allocation, still give us all the diversity for this stuff, and then keep a little, you know, a little dry powder.
I mean, I'd rather cut some of the positions.
Me too.
Okay. What some of the positions that we already have, or talking about these right here?
These right here.
Gotcha. So like
I mean,
going
I love
halfway on
them
these.
all, but I mean, I'd rather reduce the positions than reduce the size.
Okay, I just put a new list in the chat. Value, DHT, APY, CVP, DIGG, and USF. But honestly, I think for me, let's just go with 3. And maybe
Well,
you want to.
I'm cool. Honestly, I'm cool with cutting DIGG because, like, I think DIGG is gonna pump. But out of this list, the ones that like, I don't know, CVP is the one that I'm probably the most confident in, like in trust wise, like level of trust. CVP is pretty high. And after CVP, it's probably DHT, just because I don't know the Sentivate and the value got. Like, I don't know that like that at all. But the signals say that that's a good play. But like, if I had to pick, I would say like CVP, value, and USF. I would cut DIGG out of these if I had to cut one.
Really?
And then DHT because we're not going to be staking it.
Then I don't think that makes sense. I think I would rather cast a bigger net, you know, because I think, again, coming back to the DeFi pulse, Badger DAO having 40% dominance, to me that lends itself that either it has the most accessibility in DeFi or it has the best protocols, and otherwise 40% of that index wouldn't be locked up there because it's not locked up. People are choosing to put their money in any of these protocols. So,
I mean, I would be cool with a regular allocation in these 6, and that would leave us with plenty of dry powder.
okay. Okay, let's see. Is there anything? I guess I did put value on that list. So would you say value and Sentivate are pretty similar in your eyes?
I think values chart looks pretty cool. Sentivate, I didn't really have a feel for that. I don't think like that's I feel like there's all kind of niche communities in crypto, and I feel like that community with Trader XO and Sentivate, like I feel like that's a different side. Like I feel like that doesn't really have a whole lot of crossover. You know what I'm saying?
I agree. I think it's a very new money into crypto. Like very much people who missed out on crypto go to Trader XO. It's very new money.
What is this though?
Wow, I don't see. I think that's just a liquidity issue. But I mean, it's a good bit of seller pressure you can see. But it's also a good, huge area of support. You know, that was a huge area of support.
I mean, this scares me, but what it also tells me is that somebody has got a big bag. Somebody's been catching all these knives.
One of the things I also like about Sentivate for our portfolio is that with specifically APY and like DHT, all these things are DeFi protocols, where Sentivate is more of an Internet of Things play. Yeah, I guess I'm just going to read their blurb. You know, Sentivate is a revolutionary advancement, not evolutionary. In internet architecture, Sentivate has a hybrid topology consisting of interconnected, centralized, and decentralized systems. The network is designed to go beyond the capabilities that any solely centralized or decentralized network could offer. Sentivate has the ability to operate in a decentralized or centralized topology if the need ever arose. Yeah, so on and so forth. And so it's a different play that we don't have exposure to that I think has a lot of value that a lot of people aren't talking about. So, you know, for all of us as bullish as we are on helium, I think a new web makes a lot of sense too. To me, I like that chart a little bit more than value. A new web, like a new internet.
I mean, do you remember the project that I fanboyed for since the beginning of crypto, Nexus?
Yeah.
They've almost got a new internet like built, and I'm pretty sure that they've got like some government.
Oh, well, let's not get distracted, Tyler. We're pretty close to making a decision here.
Yeah, sorry.
Instead of value, are we good with if we can substitute Sentivate? I think that would make sense, and then we can come back. You know, hopefully these things double pretty quickly, and we can see if any of these other things are in position to potentially acquire.
I don't know. I would rather keep value than Sentivate.
Okay, could we just add both?
I don't have a problem with that.
Cool. Let's do that. So that'll cut us to 7. Have a little bit of dry powder, and then maybe 10, 15%. Probably about 15%.
No, closer to like 20%.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Tyler, do you want to do the honors?
Yeah.
So can we go over the positions? Just list the positions that were decided upon, and we'll get them executed and the trigger, like the actual price points and everything, all the details dropped into Discord after this call.
Yeah.
So we had 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What are they?
Value, DHT, which is a decentralized hedge fund, APY, DeFi platform, cover pool, CDP, which is the governance tokens of all governance tokens. We got DIGG, which is a DeFi platform, yield optimizer, USF, which is insurance, and Sentivate, which is Internet of Things, Web 3.0 sort of thing.
And DIGG.
Yeah.
Oh, do we take? Yeah, DIGG.
Cool. Tyler, you want to pull your screen off?
Yeah, sorry.
Cool. All right. So we've got 7 new positions that we're going to jump into with our ETH trading wallet. These are standard allocations.
Yes.
Okay. And it's going to leave us with approximately 15 to 20% dry powder for additional projects, additional investments, additional strategy deployment in the future. So if, yeah, I think we're good. Any other questions or comments on this stuff? Last thoughts?
Now that's 15 to 20% of our remaining dry powder, not like total for the wallet, because we also have our chain link position and in that wallet.
Right. Cool. We're going to go ahead and set our. Are we going to go ahead and set our sell half on a double triggers as well?
Well, we can't set the triggers, but I check it every day, and
okay.
We'll sell half on a double.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, let's do that. You guys ready to wrap this call up?
Yeah. Can we stop recording, or do we have to hop off?
Yeah, whenever we're done, I'll stop recording.
Cool.
All right, guys. Good call. New positions. I like it.